Good morning, everyone. We are so glad that you are joining us for our Springs Kids online family party. If this is your first time with us, I want to tell you a little bit about how this works. So what we're going to do is we have a couple challenges for you today, as well as a Bible lesson and a family discussion question that you're going to get to talk about all together. So make sure you grab everyone in your family, bring them into the same room, gather around and watch this. It's going to be a great time for the entire family. And if you don't like or follow Springs Kids on Facebook or Instagram, make sure you do that right away. All right, for your first challenge, this is a flat lay photo challenge. So what that means is we're going to show a picture of a whole bunch of items on one flat picture. And what you're gonna do is every few seconds, we're gonna take away a few items, and you need to see if you can keep track of which items went missing, okay? So now see who in your family can find the most missing items, keep track of them even as they disappear. And then after a few seconds, we're gonna put it back on the screen so you can see which ones went missing, all right? So have a lot of fun and let us know in the comments below who got the most correct. Wow, well, great job, everyone. Let us know who won in the comments below. We'd love to hear that. I bet you guys there was at least one person that was able to get all of the items, hopefully anyway. If not, you can always go back and do that again sometime throughout the week. It's a lot of fun. Now we're gonna go into our Bible lesson, and for this one, I want you all to listen carefully because we're gonna talk about something related to this after this video. Let's check it out.
The Bible. It's 66 books of history, stories, letters, and poetry that fit together to form God's one big story. The epic adventure of how He created us and loves us so much that He made a way to rescue us. As we travel through the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, we discover people who met God and found their lives changed forever. Now for an amazing story, inspired by the book of Hebrews, chapters 11 and 12.
Gotta have a little faith, 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 faith. Keep the faith. Take a leap of faith. You know, a lot of people toss around the word faith lately. We say you can break the faith or just take it all on blind faith. But true faith isn't blind at all. It's much more than just an inspirational word. True faith has to do with believing in all the things you can't see because you start with what you can see. Now, we can't see God with our physical eyes, but we can see the stories of people who came before us. They lived in a broken world like we do, but they chose to follow God. They chose to trust His promise that one day He would send a rescuer that would make everything right again. The writer of Hebrews in the New Testament tells us about some of these men and women in God's story. People like Noah, people like Abraham.
Abraham.
When God called Abraham, he was already getting old. He and his wife Sarah didn't have kids.
Leave your country and your people. Leave your father's family. Go to the land I will show you. All nations on earth will be blessed because of you.
God was planning on sending his rescuer as one of Abraham's great, etc. grandchildren. But still, even though Abraham had God's promise, he still couldn't see the one God was sending. Still, Abraham went on a wild adventure, following God's call, and even his descendants, Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph, all chose faith in God. Moses, too, was called by God from the fiery heart of a burning bush. Even though he was raised by Pharaoh's daughter, he chose to stand with his own people and face Pharaoh's anger to win freedom. We read about it like this in the book of Hebrews.
Moses suffered shame because of Christ. He thought it of great value.
See, when you check out Hebrews, you discover this huge list of people who followed God by faith, so many that the writer just stops trying to list all of them. Oh, but we can't forget Israel's most important king, David.
Get up and anoint him. This is the one.
Even though God had promised David would be king, though, David spent years on the run from King Saul, fearing for his life. Still, he chose to trust God.
The Lord is my shepherd. He gives me everything I need.
Now, none of these people in the Old Testament could see with their eyes how God was going to save his people, but they could see how he was working in their lives, how their needs were being met. So they chose to believe in his greater plan. They chose faith.
Faith is being sure of what we hope for. It is being sure of what we do not see. That is what the people of long ago were praised for.
Now, here's where the story turns. In Hebrews, we discover that none of those people in the Old Testament received what God had promised here on earth.
That's because God had planned something better for us, so they would only be made perfect together with us.
God's plan includes all of us from the very beginning of creation. So at just the right moment, at the perfect point in time, God sent his rescuer, the hero, his very own son, Jesus. Jesus showed us how to live. He showed us what God was like, and he told us the most important thing.
If you love one another, everyone will know you are my disciples.
Love God, love others. It's the heart of the whole story. But then, Jesus was killed, and his friends thought the story was finished. Period. Dot. The end. Until God raised him back to life. Jesus has defeated death, and those who follow him can live with him forever. But how do you follow someone you can't see? Well, that brings us back to faith.
Let us keep looking to Jesus. He is the one who started this journey of faith, and he is the one who completes this journey of faith. He paid no attention to the shame of the cross. He suffered there because of the joy he was looking forward to. So think about him. Then you won't lose hope.
The early believers, Peter and John and other followers of Jesus, had seen him teach and heal. They saw him after God raised him to life. But after Jesus returned to heaven, the believers continued to live by faith.
We have to speak about the things we've seen and heard.
Because of what the new Christians in the early church had seen, they could believe in what they could not yet see, the end of the story, where God makes everything right. They kept the faith, and because they did, we can choose faith too.
Wow, what a powerful Bible story. I love Hebrews 11, and going through it, just being reminded of all the amazing men and women of faith in the Bible. You know, when we look at their stories, we can be encouraged to have faith ourselves. Faith is believing in what you can't see because of what you can see. Now, when we talk about faith, it might be a word that you don't use every day, but it's something that you do have in your life every day. And what I mean by that is you have faith in things like oxygen, because you don't see it with your physical eyes, but you breathe it in so that you can have air in your lungs. Or gravity, so that you can stay on the ground. You don't see it pulling you down, but you know that it's holding you to the ground. Or the wind. We don't see the wind blowing, but we see the effects of the wind blowing when trees are rustling or when flags are waving. And so we have faith in our everyday lives where we don't see something, but we still believe it. And when we look at the heroes of faith, when we look at the people in this chapter of the Bible, we see people like Noah, who had faith even though he didn't see that it was going to rain. When God told him to build an ark and save his family, he decided to do that anyway, even though he couldn't see the rain. Or Abraham, when God told him to pack up his family and move them to another country, he decided to do it even when he couldn't see that he was going to have kids and a family of his own. And so when we look at this, we see faith. We see all of these things, and we can know that we can have faith in our lives too. Even Jesus had faith when he went to the cross because he knew the end result. He knew that even if he couldn't see it right away, he knew that one day we would all be in heaven with God because of what he did. So here's the thing, how does faith apply in our lives? Well, we can believe that Jesus died, rose again to take all of our sins so that we could live one day in heaven with him. So now I want you guys to talk about this. When it comes to our family discussion today, we're going to talk about this question. What are some things that you believe that you can't see? So I gave you a few examples earlier, but I want you to go around, pause the video, and go around as a family and talk about things that you don't see with your eyes, yet you still believe or have faith in. Kind of like that thing that I mentioned earlier with gravity or oxygen or wind. See what you can come up with. In fact, let us know in the comments. Maybe you thought of something that I didn't think of, but we would love to hear that. So go ahead and talk about that right now. Wow, that was such a powerful conversation. I know I love talking about things like faith with my family. I hope you do as well, and that was a great conversation for you guys. Now, I've got your last challenge for today, and this one can be done inside or outside. So if it's nice out, you can go do this outside. What you're gonna do is a game called The Floor is Lava. Now what that means is you pick the type of floor that you want to avoid. Maybe it's your driveway, or maybe it's the grass in your backyard, or your living room floor. And then you're gonna pick one point to start and one point to end. And you're gonna take objects and put them on the floor so that you can step on those to avoid stepping on the floor, okay? If you step on the floor, you gotta restart. Now you can make this as challenging or as easy for yourself as you want. So go ahead and do that after this video. Have an awesome Sunday, you guys. We love you, and we'll see you soon.
Even before the sun and stars caught fire, even before the earth and sky were made, you had a purpose and a plan for my life. You held my heart and you knew my name. So I will walk in the plans that you have for me. I will follow, trust and obey. No matter where this journey may lead me, I know you are good always. From highest mountains to the deepest oceans, you have created everything we see. And still you made me unlike any other. Nothing compares to your love for me, no. I will walk in the plans that you have for me. I will follow, trust and obey. No matter where this journey may lead me, I know you are good always. Fearfully and wonderfully created, we're all masterpieces to show the world the love of God. Fearfully and wonderfully created, we're all masterpieces to show the world the love of God. Fearfully and wonderfully created, we're all masterpieces to show the world the love of God. I will walk in the plans that you have for me. I will follow, trust and obey. I will walk in the plans that you have for me. I will follow, trust and obey. No matter where this journey may lead me, I know you are good always. I will walk in the plans that you have for me. I will follow, trust and obey.